I teach this course called the Archaeology of Animals, which is basically a course about food. And in particular, we're interested in what the Paleolithic diet was like of humans and our ancestors. And we investigate that by looking at some materials which preserve best in the archaeological record, and those are animal bones.
The bone breakage lab was to learn how to break the bones, what kind of marks the tools leave on the bones, and what kind of breaks occur on the bones.
In one of my favorite labs, students have the opportunity to break open bones for access to marrow, much like our ancestors would have done. Most of my students are like myself. They were raised around the greater New York City area, and we get most of our food from groceries. It's pretty tough to think about what it might be like to get your food in the absence of perfectly prepackaged materials that are easy to cook and process.
I thought the bone breaking lab was awesome. I thought it was really cool to be able to use the stone tool technology and crack open bones and learn the whole process from beginning to starting with a complete bone and then going all the way down to the marrow. It was fascinating. And I wasn't sure if I would be able to break open a complete bone, because bone is so hard. And once I got the first strike down and I realized how to handle and position the bone and the stone in my hand, it only took me about 4 good strikes to get through to the bone marrow. That was really exciting because I didn't think I had that strength in me.
I loved the lab where we got to dissect a lamb. We didn't use any modern technology, any modern tools like a knife. We used stone tools that Professor Weigel made for us by flint knapping, and we got to cut up this lamb with these stone tools and it actually really worked really well. They were really sharp and it could cut through the skin really easily, and I was surprised at how well it actually worked, and it was a lot of fun.
After we butchered, everybody got to take home a piece of meat, so it didn't go to waste.
I think the archaeology of animals is a big puzzle, and maybe that's why I love it so much, because most of what we find in the archaeological record are really small pieces of bone, and we've got to figure out what animals they come from, or what species, and what part of that animal. Were they front legs, hind legs, ribs? As we go through the semester, we're picking up all of these small pieces to a puzzle, and it turns out we don't have all of the pieces, but we're following every clue that we can to reconstruct these paleo diets in as much detail as possible. One of the best days in class every semester is after students have been spending a lot of time in the lab looking at bones and trying to remember which elements are which is the femur and which is a vertebrae and which is a rib. And they start to find these small pieces and pick them up and turn them around and say, hey, this is a part of a femur, and they're right. It's something just clicks with almost everybody at about the same time, and once they do that, it's just really great.